Hallie, the court is hearing argument now, and here's the big question. If President Obama could start DACA simply by presidential action, why can't President Trump just stop it by presidential action?
Yes, let's all pretend like the Supreme Court is just making these determinations purely on the constitutional merits and not political ones. It's just a coincidence that all the conservative justices are on the conservative court are siding with Trump, and all of the liberals are siding against him. It's so annoying that the media continues to do this. They aren't impartial actors. They're human beings with ideologies and internet. But the leftist ones are on the more moral side here. Usually they are. But sadly, it looks like the good guys might not win this one. The Supreme Court's conservative majority on Tuesday appeared ready to side with the Trump administration in its efforts to shut down a program protecting about 700,000 young immigrants known as Dreamers. The court's liberal justices probed the administration's justifications for ending the program, expressing skepticism about its rationales for doing so. But other justices indicated that they would not second-guess the administration's reasoning and, in any event, considered its explanations sufficient. So when we're looking at these SCOTUS cases, this one's obviously along ideological lines because basically, according to the reporting, Gorsuch has been saying that he isn't sure if it's the role of the Supreme Court to review the administration's decision to end the program and make a value judgment there. It's like pretty much definitely your role, but like, would Gorsuch be saying that if they were ruling on the Obama administration's decision to defer action, which is what the DA in DACA stands for, on deporting these kids? I highly doubt that. I bet he would say it was, outside their scope of the executive branch to be making these kinds of decisions. But at least based on what the ACLU is saying, there is a substantial legal argument to be made here in favor of DACA. A decision to abandon the DACA program would be a political decision, not a legal one. In fact, the US government has repeatedly and successfully defended DACA against constitutional challenges. Indeed, every legal challenge to the DACA program has failed. DACA is a form of temporary protection from deportation known as deferred action. Deferred action is one way in which the executive branch historically has exercised discretion over whom should and shouldn't be deported from the United States. DACA specifically grants people who came to the United States as children, pass a criminal background check, and meet educational and other criteria permission to live and work in the country on a 2-year renewable basis. So it's really not even that sweeping. It's quite a conservative proposal in that sense, which is why it had bipartisan support, or had, again, until Trump came into office and he said things like this. He just tried to claim this morning on Twitter that the Dreamers are, quote, far from angels. Some are very tough, hardened criminals, he said. But as I just said, not being a criminal is literally a requirement of the program. I wonder where he's getting that assumption about them from. Now, it looks like the Supreme Court is going to side with Trump, which leaves hundreds of thousands, 700,000 Americans, the DACA recipients are Americans, it leaves them to the wolves, and then subject to deportation, which could actually go through if we reelect Donald Trump in 2020. And that's really what's scary about all of this. Again, all hands on deck, because 700,000 Dreamers, their lives are in our hands, basically, along with so many other people that are going to be affected by the outcome of this election.